Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This book was recommended to me by one of my viewers, Robert, and I want to thank you, Robert. This was a great recommendation. I loved everything about this book, so keep some recommendations coming. I don't know how fast I'll get to all of them. Got a big stack of books here to read, but this was perfect. This is a 200-page novella, and when he recommended it, I looked it up and noticed it was free through Amazon's Kindle Unlimited program. So that's how I downloaded it, and I read it on my e-reader. If you're part of that program, Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free and check it out. I highly recommend it. So I don't really want to talk about the book too much, but I will say some things. So there was some unique things done in this book, and I'll kind of highlight those. With a 200-page book that was this cool, I don't really want to spoil anything, and I think everyone should give this book a shot, especially if you're a fan of the channel and you read science fiction. Definitely check this out. So what was cool is this book was written from the perspective of two separate characters, and we alternate. Each chapter kind of goes from one character to the other. And then also what was really cool is in the middle of the book there's this chapter that is from the point of view of both characters, and you get this kind of like side-by-side reading experience, which I've never quite experienced before. And as vague as that sounds, it makes so much sense when you read the book, how Adrian did this section of the book. But when you're in the one point of view from one character, this book reads like a fantasy novel. When you're in the other character's point of view, it reads like a science fiction novel, which was really cool. There was also some comedy, mystery, and horror elements in this book. The pacing, the narrative, the flow, everything was really good. I've read one other book by Adrian Tchaikovsky before. That was Children of Time. I liked it, but that was a big, dense book, and I plan on going back to him and reading the rest of that trilogy plus his newest trilogy at some point. But I've noticed he has written a few other standalones and some novellas and things like that. So this novella was just amazing. I don't want to say too much else. There is a hint in my thumbnail about breaking the Prime Directive. But other than that, I would say just grab this book and read it because it's a fun experience. I think if I say too much, it will spoil some of the fun of the book. So that's really all I want to say. Maybe I love this book so much because I just got off reading the Einstein intersection, and that was a bit of a frustrating book for me, and everything that I didn't like about that book, this book solved because it had a coherent plot, it had likable characters, it had all those things that were a struggle in the last book for me. So the pros and cons, it took kind of basic or established tropes and kind of mixed them up in a new way. The narrative style was cool. There was this one aspect in the science fiction element where, I will say this, a character has the ability to kind of dull down or eliminate their emotions. So if they want to make some really good decisions based on facts, character has the ability to do that. So that was kind of neat. I hadn't seen that done exactly in this fashion in any other science fiction books that I've read. And it added a neat element to the story that got kind of deep as well. So some other pros were just the characters. For a novella, the characters, the plot, everything was done as well as you can in 200 pages. It reminded me of how much information these older authors could pack into these 200-page books, because back in the day that was kind of a standard science fiction novel was 200 pages, and now with novels being mostly in the 500 page and up range, it's kind of refreshing to see a modern author put together so much work in a 200-page book. So I really appreciated that. As far as the negatives or the cons, I can't really think of too many. I thought everything for this kind of book was fine. Of course, you're not going to get the deep character and world building that you would in a longer book. I'm going to give this book a 4 on Goodreads. I think it's probably about as close as I could get to a 5. And I just thoroughly enjoyed everything about it. And once again, Robert, thanks for the recommendation. So that's all I'm going to say there. And the next book I'm going to read is part of the Masterpiece Science Fiction series that I'm doing. And it's A Door into Ocean by Joan Slonczewski. I don't know. I can't pronounce that. But this is one that Matt over at Fantasy or Science Fiction Reads talks about a lot, and I'm going to give this one a go. Feel like I've only read one female author so far in the series, so I wanted to pick out another book from a female author, and I didn't really want to get into a big series yet. I had a couple that were part of a series, and this one just sounded pretty interesting. So this will be the next book I read, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.